Greetings! Today we discuss the Mario Cliche from Jiminy, devil music, skydiving, and so much more on this episode of BGITP Podcast! Hey! Eureka!
Can we start?
Yeah, of course.
Ahoy, Ahoy, boogers! Welcome to Bear Ghost Invents the Podcast. This is the podcast where we plunge into the who's its and what's its galore of the inner workings of Bear Ghost. I got all the regular gentlemen with me. I got Buttons the drummer.
What a do.
I got what a do bass player do.
Boobity-doo. Oh.
And again, we have Tigbot.
That's right. I'm back, baby.
Oh, getting your broadcasting in, some smooth voice.
Smooth voice. I'm back, baby. It's me.
Anyways, today we're going to talk about the Mario Cliche.
I actually didn't like this song.
Let's have the first thing in the podcast about this song be about your dislike of it.
I thought this song was going to be a dud when we were writing it. And I think it's just because we get into a point where we're rehearsing it in the studio, and when we were writing it, it wasn't all there. It was just the three of us, and a lot of the samples weren't there, and we hadn't figured out the vocals yet. And I just thought the song was going to be an album song that's one of those passing things. And you kept telling me, nope, this song's going to be really good, and everyone's going to love it. When the album came out, everybody loved it.
I don't necessarily know if I knew that everybody was going to love it, because it was one of the songs that I was worried about not feeling like it was a Bear Ghost song.
Yeah.
There wasn't a monster other than a monster riff.
Ooh.
Thank you. I can check that one off my list of cool jokes to tell on the podcast today. It's bubbly.
There's even bubbles in it.
Yeah, we have spent a long time trying to be a band that could do whatever we wanted, but it didn't have any dark riffs or anything like that. I wasn't sure how people were going to take to it, but the whole time I was like, this chorus rips. This is a great chorus. I rarely write what I feel are great choruses, so it's just a good melody. So that's kind of where I was just like, trust me, I have ideas for it. It's going to be a good song.
You had the vision, and I did not.
To add to that, I didn't have the vision because obviously drums go first in the recording. So from the time that I recorded the drums till we finally got mixes, I'm like, this is awesome.
Yeah, because you hadn't heard any of the layers.
And there was a problem with some lyrics too, right?
We've talked at length about how long this album took us to write. All the while, I was the most prevalent one of us in our Discord, which is our most active community. And people all the time were just like, what's going on with the album? Is the album going to come out? And there was a point, and it felt like it lasted almost a whole year of me being like, once this song is done, we'll have some more concrete release window for you. But I'm just like, we don't want to force it and make it like a crappy song that we don't really like and we know we could have done better. And I kept giving them that answer over and over and over again. And we were still recording stuff. Like, you hadn't finished Vulture yet, but the song was written. Mario Cliche was not done.
That was a problem with Vulture, is because I really didn't have the bandwidth to help with anything else until I had finished Vulture.
I had plenty of bandwidth.
You can cross that one off your list of great jokes to tell today. The way we work lyrically, I feel like kind of like more like a producer, where I'll give you the idea and then you have to write it, and I basically just keep giving you studio notes to death. So I couldn't help you with anything. But I also, since I was the one who created the idea and it was all about my relationship, it was very hard for you to write lyrics to without me.
The thing that we were caught up on the most was the second verse. And it's a lot of words.
How many words was it, Tigbot? Can you do that calculation really quick?
Like 40?
Wow, that's a
so
lot.
many words. Is that a lot of words?
I don't know.
Doesn't sound like a lot. But
No.
Tigbot doesn't know if 40 words is a lot of words.
it isn't a haiku.
I wrote that second verse, 30 times. And I remember sending them to you. And like you said, you didn't have the capacity to give me really anything more than I like this or I don't like this. And I'd work on one for like a week and a half and be like, here? And you're like, no.
So, okay, to be fair, I did give you a little bit more than that, but it wasn't a lot. A lot of times it was just like, this is not fun enough.
Yeah.
And then this isn't derogatory about me enough. This has to be more like, I'm a real piece of shit. But it has to be fun. And it also has to be about how great she is. This is literally a it's not you, it's me story. But the whole second verse was always a stripped down musical theater number with just bongos and bells and rap. That's what's going to happen on this. And so Andrew was just like, I don't understand.
Well, and one of the feedbacks you gave me, it was the first time
I believe it's one of the feeds back.
One of the feedback that you gave me, I had given you the second verse that I had written that I was like, I think this might be it. And you, within like 30 seconds of me sending it to you, you sent it back to me and you're like, you sound like a hapless white guy that doesn't know how to rap that really wants to be a rapper.
Ouch.
Yeah, and I was just like, oh.
I am that.
Which is funny because the version we have the version we have in this song now is 80% that verse. I just made it all better.
You did. Then finally, we had a studio date. It was the last date we could possibly be in the studio, and Andrew and I stayed up all night just bouncing literal entire drafts back and forth.
Yeah, we were literally in your bedroom, and we were just sitting across from each other, typing notes on our phone.
Is this the one where I did all the raps differently than you?
But yours were all way better.
I tried to do like a David Diggs to the Jefferson rap? No, not Jefferson. Who the is it that does the rap?
Will Smith.
Will Smith. I forgot that Will Smith played Thomas Jefferson. And no, Lafayette. Hamilton is great. I know that's a hot take, but it's pretty good. Lin-Manuel Miranda always talks about how he wrote that rap in a certain way. And then David Diggs, this is a real good opportunity for any of you guys to go listen to clipping if you haven't. But he changed all the cadences of that Lafayette rap. And Lin-Manuel Miranda is like, this is way better. And so what I'm doing is comparing myself to a great rapper of Broadway theater, David Diggs, and saying that I just transformed this rap and made it way cooler. They're really great lyrics, and it was also one of those things where once I had the bandwidth and could sit down, I was just like, I see what he's done here. This is really good. This is a nice little cheeky part, and it does work better than I thought. Plus, we had to go back and kind of rework some of the stuff from the first verse, which made the second verse make more sense, if you'll remember. Will you? Will you remember? It looks like you don't remember anything.
No, I honestly was zoning out and I didn't hear a word you just said. My wife knows how that goes.
Hello, wife.
My wife's in here.
She's silently saying hello. Do you want to say hello?
Hello.
We'll cut that out.
Saying that we got hung up on one song, we were working on this song and Vulture at the same time, but my point was that Vulture was written. We just had to finish the recording and get it right. Whereas this song was the only thing on the album that was not done. Like we hadn't written it yet. And the Discord will know because they still ask me sometimes, like, what was the one song? It's this one.
I think the fans would like to know, which Mario Batali dish do you in fact consider cliche?
The pappardelle bolognese.
Okay, I can see that. Yeah.
It's a real cliche.
Yeah.
And I feel like any respectable Italian joint that serves it should be ran right out of town.
Well, I mean, the real cliche is spaghetti bolognese, but throwing pappardelle in there is just a cop-out.
Exactly.
Just to make it seem like it's unique. You're just using a different shaped pasta and you want it to be...
Damn, dude, one trip to Italy and you're like...
It's all Andrew talks about off the mic.
Yeah. How much American pasta
sucks.
is garbage. Yeah.
They just overdo it with the Parmesan.
I went to go eat at a fine dining establishment. They offered me Parmesan cheese on a dish that I felt had too much cheese on it. But
Did they ask you if they could put goldfish and beets on your...
oh my gosh, there was a time. So on the tour, we stopped at like a country diner. This place was honestly awesome. I'm a big vibes guy, and a lot of times I will pick a place to eat that has more vibes than it does good food. And our manager, Papa Mau Mau, sits down and he was like, I would like to have this salad. This sounds like a good salad. And I don't know, it was named world's healthiest salad or something. And the waitress is just like, would you like sliced beets and goldfish on top of that?
What she said was, that usually comes with sliced beets and goldfish. Would you like those added?
And he goes, don't be doing none of that. and then he looks at all of us while she's still there. And he goes, I think she just told a lie.
There's nothing on the planet that should come with sliced beets and goldfish on top of it. She didn't mean goldfish crackers either. She meant actual like goldfish.
Live goldfish.
Still alive.
Would you like your salad to be just a bit more cruel?
Salad's a notoriously cruel appetizer.
I think when people listen to our songs, because a lot of times we have double meanings and stuff like that.
Almost every time.
Yeah. And they want to know, like, what does this mean? Or what does this mean? Or did you mean this? Or does this tie into this? And I get questions all the time about this song. What does it have to do with Mario? Literally nothing. Nothing in this song has anything to do with Mario.
The title is a joke. We grew up in the era of Nintendo 64, and the most famous game on the Nintendo 64 is GoldenEye, followed by Ocarina of Time, followed by Donkey Kong 64, followed by Super
Majora's
Smash
Mask.
Brothers, followed by Mario Kart 64, followed by Wave Race, followed by
Perfect Dark, probably.
followed by Conker's Bad Fur Day, followed by
Star Fox 64.
yes, exactly. Then
NFL Blitz.
then Monopoly, then you have Super Mario 64. And That was the first time any of us had heard Mario talk. That was the first time any of us had ever seen a 3D game. I like literally could not fathom what I was seeing when I went into the store.
It took me days to figure out how to move in that game. Like I was like, what am I supposed to
The joystick.
The joystick was weird.
You would go left and he would like turn around. It's like I just want to go that way and I don't know how.
Yeah, it was one joystick. Like how?
Oh yeah, and the
It was
camera moved with the yellow buttons.
Well,
and that was-
don't forget too that we had all been playing with directional pads.
Yeah.
That game controller had a directional pad. It was laid out like a Super Nintendo controller with one extra dong in the middle of it, and that dong had a joystick and
a trigger.
Yeah, and we're like, what do we do with this joystick dong?
I didn't even understand what the trigger was. There were so many things in so many games back then that I was just doing so much harder than I needed to because I didn't know what the trigger was supposed to do.
Andrew was doing so much harder than he needed to.
Dude, I truly wonder how did I ever play these games? Because trying to play them now, I'm like, these controls are terrible.
GoldenEye 64 being as popular as it is, they've tried to make it through emulation or whatever, and it never worked out because the controls in that game are so bad that it doesn't translate to anything except for a Nintendo 64 controller. And even now, it's on the Switch 64 Virtual,
Right.
whatever, and it's unplayable. Like
Well, it is. Speaking of Conker's Bad Fur Day, that's a game that I always used to play multiplayer for. But your camera and your movement, 360-degree movement, was tied just to the joystick in a shooter game. And it's just, that's your aiming, that's your camera, that's whether you're going to go left or right. And it was so intuitive to me.
I never had a problem back in the day.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I did?
What did you do?
I used my right hand.
What'd you press your buttons with?
Who needs buttons when your name is Buttons?
Oh my god! Wow. No wonder you're so good at video game.
Anyways, Super Mario 64, the first time we'd ever seen a 3D game, it starts off with Mario's big dumb head popping up and he goes, "It's me, Mario."
You can pull on his nose and shit.
Yeah. Literally anytime I've heard somebody say "it's me," I think Mario. That mixed with the fact that it's not you, it's me, which is the oldest breakup cliche in the book, made it the Mario cliche.
Except for the fact that we put in two very Mario-esque vocal parts in the song just to poke fun at the fact that we called it the Mario cliche.
Which ones?
I have the "Here We Go" at the beginning and the "Wahoo" at the end. I tried to not make them too Mario-y. It's just kind of like a little tongue-in-cheek.
So here's the thing about what Andrew just said. A lot of times we want you to kind of create your own headcanon for the songs, but we need to be pretty adamant that this song has nothing to do with Mario as a character.
Yeah.
Now, it doesn't help that we had that one guy draw up all those t-shirt designs for us, and he made one that was very clearly like Mario and Peach, but like it was such like a good piece of artwork that I didn't want to be like, hey, we did tell him make it look less like Mario though, because at first it was just Mario.
Yeah.
So lyrically, I wanted to have like a double meaning of a song as always. I had a relationship that mostly fell apart because I was unwilling to devote the time necessary to being in like a committed relationship. I loved everything about her. It was just, I don't know. I wanted to be able to play video games and hang out with my friends whenever I wanted to, you know, and didn't.
Totally get it.
I wasn't ready. I was in an immature place. Weirdly enough, I am now engaged to this woman. It all worked out. You know, I grew up and became a different person, and things are so much better for it. So I wrote the music after that breakup. We broke up because I wanted to be more focused on myself. So in a weird way, it was kind of like I was cheating on her with myself. And so I was like, well, what if we did it like it actually sounds like it's about cheating on her with another man, and it's always there that it's me.
Which we punch you right in the face with in the very last line of the song.
Yeah. One of my favorite lyrics I've ever written is that whole last part. I'm not entirely sure that whole tongue-in-cheek, like, oh man, this is an affair song ever even came out. It doesn't really come through.
I didn't get that vibe, but I thought it was more of like an enlightened self-interest kind of thing. Like, I'm going to better myself before I can be a part of this relationship.
The parts of it that I was writing, I wrote from that perspective.
Got it. Okay.
Because I took it less from the sense of just like, I'm being selfish. It was more in the vein of, I'm a mess and I do not have the mental capacity to deal with all of my bullshit and also give you the relationship that you need. So there's that sincerity to it. But at the same time, I was trying to write it about this whole like, I like this guy over here.
Yeah. This guy's looking fine.
Yeah.
I think the chorus melody is really good. And it was difficult to write lyrics around, wasn't it? Because I had like, can't stop, won't stop, wasting all my time. I had that from the beginning.
Yeah. And you were like, I want that in there. But I had to write around it and make it work. It's one of the songs on the album that I feel like I'm most proud of lyrically. I think
great.
It turned out really great. And it was the most frustrating one to write.
Super frustrating.
Hold on. So it's not a breakup song.
It is, but it's simultaneously.
It's like a reverse breakup song. It's like
Yeah.
I'm breaking up because I'm a mess and I want to better myself.
Well, that's the thing. It's
Yeah.
not you, it's me. There's nothing
Yeah.
wrong with you. We need to end this relationship because I am either so focused on myself or I have so much stuff to deal with that I don't have the mental capacity
Yeah.
to deal with you, for lack of a better term.
No, but it works there. And it was immature to not be able to deal because nothing bad was being offered.
There are people out there who just get to a point where they're such a mess internally that they literally cannot contribute back to a relationship the way that someone else needs them to.
In hindsight, that's where I was.
Yeah.
When you're in the throes of being self-involved and narcissistic, it can be hard to recognize that you're being self-involved and narcissistic.
I'm not being self-involved and narcissistic.
I wanted Andrew to come at it from kind of like a mean-spirited direction about the narrator. But I was also using your niceness to want to propel a bouncy mood. And it was very difficult to convey that juxtaposition, but I think you landed on it splendidly.
After like a year of
Right.
trying to write those
Yeah.
lyrics.
After a year of me just being like, I don't know, it's not fun enough. And you're like, what the fuck are you talking about? I said poopty poopty pants in the second verse.
Hi, I'm Frank Lawyer. You might remember me from my law and pizza commercials. I made a promise, and I was like 40 seconds too late on one pizza delivery, and then a lot later on a lot of other pizza deliveries, and I got sued. A lot. I lost it all. And now I'm down in the dumps. Again.
But this is America, and Frank Lawyer will never give up. The obvious answer is to sue someone else for something. So if you or anyone you know has said or done anything that I can sue you for, give me a call at Frank Lawyer will get you the pizza that you deserve.com 1-800. I couldn't afford a new phone number, but that will change when I sue you. Call now!
We have been getting quite a lot of comments about people thinking that this song has a Weezer reference in it, which is weird because
Where?
It's in your guitar.
it's in your guitar solo.
Guitar solo, yeah.
because
I didn't hear it until people pointed it out. I'm like,
I didn't hear it until someone made a
on
video
Discord.
of the two songs blending together at that point. But there's a part in the solo where you go, "Bow, now, 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 now."
No.
It's not exactly that. I just did the Weezer one. But
Yeah.
everyone is just like, "Oh, is that a callback to Weezer?" And I'm like, "No, it's literally not." But
It's not.
people call that part the Weezer riff.
There's a thing in jazz called the lick. It's like doo-doo. I don't know enough about music theory, so I don't know like what the note cadence is, but it's it's like doo 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 doo. It's just this recognizable melody, and you can play it in different note intervals and stuff like that. But it's always recognizable because of the way it does that. And music is filled with that kind of stuff. All music basically evolves from like a shared knowledge of this sort of style, and then you kind of evolve on that.
Even early, what they started calling rock and roll is just blues, but faster.
It's blues and like Western with like a shuffle beat, You know what I think is so weird about rock and roll? That era, everything was like so immaculately composed and arranged, and they were using all these chord progressions and tricks that sound so amazing. And then rock and roll comes along, and it's just like we have 3 chords and we sing like over them. And teenagers just like this is my jam. And then parents were just like, this song about rocking around the clock is clearly the devil trying to infiltrate.
Devil's music. Could you say that it's one of our poppiest of the album?
It's definitely one of our poppiest.
I think it's one of the
the
simplest songs I play on the drums, but I
Talking
actually
about that verse is fucking.
enjoy the shit out of it. Like it's so fun to play.
I write all of our songs with a very traditional pop structure.
Yeah.
And it is kind of
course,
like pick and
yeah.
choose whether or not you're going to do a post chorus and pick and choose whether or not you're going to
Right.
I'm a big fan of just little chromatic note changes and these little like chromatic clusters. And this song has it in spades. I
And
just
in
think
diamonds.
And in diamonds. One thing that I really miss about playing it live is that the chorus has basically just like a walking guitar line that sort of follows what Andrew's playing on the bass, but differs a little bit. And we don't do that live because I cannot sing and play that guitar line.
It's very difficult.
Yeah. I also don't do the monologue live because I don't know. I don't want to.
It comes off kind of cheesy.
Yeah.
live.
I mean, it's kind of cheesy in the song too, but live, I don't know. I tell everybody to love each other. In recording the choruses, I really went for a different idea.
Kind of anthemic.
Well, just with my harmonies. Usually it's just doing the third, but with this, I didn't want the harmonies to be super noticeable. So I actually took a lot of inspiration from country music over the last couple of years because you'll hear the main vocal melody in the chorus is front and center. And it's like, man, why does that sound so good? Why does it sound so like beefy? I started realizing that it's like a 3-part harmony every single time. And then they just tuck those harmonies so far underneath it. So you can't really tell why. It just sounds like you have these ringing melodic notes that are like coming from just the main melody.
It's
and
like, it's a mixed thing.
Yeah. And so I was just like, I want to do that. And I carried that forward into a couple songs afterwards. My fiance came in and recorded the whole ladies choir part at the end, which is really cool. It was kind of nice to have her on the track since the song started with her in the first place. When I say maybe I'm a little bit selfish in here, that's my fiance, because she's just like, yeah, you were a little bit selfish, but we love each other.
That's so meta.
If you think that's meta, wait until we have to talk about when
When
I'm
I'm
dead.
dead.
Oh my God.
In the it's not you, it's me, I mean it, no hyperbole, no really part. After I'd already recorded that, I went home and I was like, 2 of these chords should change. They should go up.
Oh my God.
Yeah, they should go up a whole step. I could not justify going in and like re-recording all the guitar and bass for them, so I just had Jeremy pitch them up right there, and luckily they sound pretty good.
Yep. Guess which ones they are. You can't.
You never will, you dumb I'm talking specifically to you, Harold Boogers from Minnesota.
What a horrible name.
Yeah, he does have a horrible name.
Yeah.
You, Harold Boogers.
We hate him.
You know, his wife's cheating on him.
I know. We all know.
Yeah, that's probably enough about the song. Tigbot, what do we got on the Discord?
Let me see. Now loading. Here's a good one. If money was no object, what would you like to do as a band? Skydive?
I went skydiving, actually.
Me too. I mean, I thought about it.
It was really weird because I took Tigbot skydiving with me, and my skydiving instructor was just like, "We don't usually take computers with us, mate." He was Australian, as you can tell by that flawless accent. But Tigbot hacked into his bank account and drained it dry.
I went skydiving one time and now I have no money.
It's the same time that we're talking about.
Yes, I know. I was just trying to make a joke about how we said if money was no object, we'd go skydiving. Yeah. So I did go skydiving once and I had to pay for it, and now I'm just broke. Lost my house.
Oh man, maybe we should post the video, your skydiving video.
Where I like pass out and wake up again.
And you come down and you're just like, oh yeah.
I don't actually think I did, but it looks like I do in the
Oh,
video.
he faints.
I,
So anybody that doesn't know this, Andrew has the most unreasonably muscular legs. And for whatever reason, the way he was strapped into the parachute,
Hold on. I want to explain this. When we were in the plane, it was a very small plane, and we were like knees to chest in the back of the plane. And the guy
you were with your muscular legs.
the guy told us, he's just like, if the harness doesn't feel tight enough, just pull these straps. And it felt super loose because of the way I was sitting. And I was nervous because I was about to jump out of a fucking plane. So while we were in the plane and my knees were up to my chest, I just kept tightening those straps
oh no.
because I thought they were too loose. Now, Ryan, continue your story.
The initial jump out of the plane is pretty crazy. The instructors warned us constantly. They're like, you're not going to remember a lot from this. It is definitely sensory overload. And they're more or less correct. But once you get to the point where the parachute opens and you're just, gliding to the bottom, then your body's loosey-goosey. I'm down on the ground because I think I was the first one to go out.
Which is terrifying.
And then, I didn't get to see what it looked like when anybody else got sucked out of a f***ing airplane.
That's
that-
horrifying.
Yeah.
It was so funny because when we were in the plane, I wasn't nervous literally at all. And then he was just like, all right, you're going first, mate. And what? It's so good.
We have so many Australian fans that are going to be offended by you.
I think they're going to hail me as a hero. Then he opened the plane and I got to the edge and I was terrified literally immediately. Anyway, so I'm on the ground waiting for Andrew to come down. And it's impossible to describe this over the podcast, but Andrew's legs were like he was just sitting.
Yeah. He was in a
chair.
In a
chair-seated
full
position.
right angle sitting position.
Like my hips to knees to ankles were like a
Could
90
not
degree
relax his
angle.
legs because he pulled on his straps so hard.
So I was just floating down like in a chair position.
It was so funny.
Anyway, sorry to derail your question, but on to the next one.
Does that mean that
Like if we didn't have any financial hindrances.
no financial hindrances?
I think that's what that means when it says if money was no object.
Any financial hindrances to creating music or
Anything. Like what would we want to do as a band? I'd be
yeah,
like,
get like a really cool house with money fountains.
I'd get us a toy-ass tour bus.
Listeners are going to be aggravated with me. I'm just trying to nail down the specificity of what this is saying. This is just band related. Or if I'm like,
It doesn't say that.
We have no financial hindrances whatsoever. Like, I don't need to worry about paying a mortgage.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
So basically, we as a three-piece have unlimited money.
Yes.
Then I'm definitely not writing music anymore. I am doing nothing with the. I'm traveling constantly, and then maybe I'll come back and write a song that I can send to Andrew and Buttons that they won't respond to, and that's what I'm doing.
As a band, I feel like we would just
Retire. So keep them poor, guys.
please don't. I would want to be on the road more. We'd probably do a lot more cool travel. We could get a bus or two even where we could like have our families with us, so we wouldn't have to be like homesick and shit.
Yeah, that's really true. If we want to narrow it to the point where we're not talking about me not making music anymore, if financial stress was out of the question, but it's like all the money was in the band, it'd be like, okay, let's get like a nicer bus so I can carry my kid with us. Because I have a pretty steadfast rule that we can't be out for more than 2 weeks right now because, you know, he's very young and I don't want to be away from him for very long.
Yeah.
So like out of everybody in the band, I'm the one who has the least interest in touring because I want to be home to rear my child. So I would say a cool bus that we can tour for longer. I would do things like record with orchestras.
You record with killer whales?
I would record with killer whales in Wales.
Orchestras.
Oh, I didn't get it at all.
I got it.
Orchestras? Is there a joke there?
I don't know. Straws kill orcas.
Yeah, there we go.
Plastic straws, bad environment. Turtles.
And that's pretty
whatever.
funny.
It's hilarious.
Global warming.
Favorite video games? What have you been playing recently? This is the second question, but I'm just going to tack it onto this one because it's pretty similar. Do you guys like playing indie video games?
Yeah.
I usually play all my video games indie front room.
There we go. He's back.
When I decided that I was going to start playing games like Hollow Knight and Celeste, I think they were still considered indie games, and now they're
Yeah.
not.
Yeah, I mean, no, they still are because they were made by
Yeah, there's
developers.
independent
just that
studios.
They don't like
yeah.
get elevated to AAA just because they
They're
did well.
big. I love games like that. I went through a phase where like all I was playing was esoteric off the beaten path games. Like you had me play Spiritfarer,
Oh yeah.
which was awesome.
Indie games, by the way, are definitely my favorite games to
Yeah.
play. So.
I played Abzu with Carl, and that was really cool. There's another game that she played that I think it was called Grease or something like that, GRIS, and it's
Oh yeah.
like
yeah.
the whole game is all about like
This-
colors and
yeah, it was this
manipulating colors. It's-
Spanish developer who
Yeah.
did that. It's all like hand animated, I believe. Too.
yeah, but Celeste and Hollow Knight are two of my favorite games I've ever played in my life.
I just recently played Nine Souls. I think that's an independent game.
Oh, I
It's
don't know anything
another-
about that.
It's a Metroidvania, but it's based a lot more on parrying as opposed to.
There's a game called Dredge. It's on Steam.
Oh yeah, I've
Mm.
heard really good
Great,
things.
great game.
I have not played Dredge, but I played Dave the Diver, which had a tie-in with Dredge. And Dave
Really?
the Diver was
Shovel Knight. That was an independent game that
Oh,
I
you
played.
played Shovel Knight? Yeah.
That was a long time ago, though.
Going off to favorite video games though, that's a whole
Yeah,
different story.
Not independent. At least what we're playing right now. I think Buttons, Andrew, and I are all doing Rivals. We're pretty deep in that.
Yeah,
Um,
and I keep wanting to do something else, but I can't.
Yeah,
Can't do it.
Pretty
It's
addicting.
so fun.
Favorite video games, everyone will know, and in a couple months from now, I will have a tattoo that matches it. But I am just so nuts about The Last of
Kirby
Us. I have statues
of Waddle Dee.
of Waddle Dee. No, but I love The Last of Us games. I am getting the Ellie tattoo on my arm in June.
I always thought it was weird that Ellie had a tattoo of Waddle Dee. I think that they're the best games that I've ever played.
I've never felt so emotionally affected by a piece of media as I have by those two games. The second one got
That's
sorry.
what I'm sorry. Never mind. The moment is past. I have to make this joke now, anyways. There was a New York meteorologist who said that about a meteor that he found too. I've never been so emotionally invested in a piece of media.
Oh boy. Okay. Do you think meteorologists find meteors?
This
are
one
they
from New
named
York.
after?
This one from New York did.
Okay.
I heard him say it.
It's not his job. He just found a meteor. Okay. And he's never been so emotional.
He was very moved. You had to bring it on the news with him when he was doing the weather.
I remember the second one came out and there was a bunch of
Negative press because
Yeah.
people fucking suck.
Yeah, people hate women or something.
Right. Yeah.
That's pretty much entirely what it is. They didn't like that Abby was buff
Yeah.
instead of like being hot. There's no possible way she'd be hot and buff.
Well, and they were mad that spoilers that, and they wanted.
That sucked.
I'm so sorry.
Bleep all of that.
Wow.
Yeah, that'll erase it from my mind.
Well, I said spoilers.
Yeah, true. I don't know why I didn't. Just power down real quick.
You'll have to bleep what you said because we need to keep all that stuff in about Tig having it spoiled for him.
Oh, I feel so bad.
Yeah, that really sucks. But
Anyway, so that leaked, and everybody was.
My fault for having an Xbox.
I played the second game, and I just was so emotionally destroyed by it. And
it's a hard game.
yeah, and I think that's like part of the point. Even reading the positive reviews about it when it came out, which is almost all of them, it'll. It's impossible to try to talk seriously about this. Anyway, I like Mario games.
Wow.
I mean, not to get on the Mario cliche train, but I am definitely like the least
Smart.
yeah, definitely. I'm probably
Sorry.
number one dumb here.
You're a Nintendo boy.
I am a Nintendo boy. I love Mario games. Mario Odyssey was one of the most fun games I've ever played in my life. Very big into any Super Smash Brothers. I love playing Mario Kart 8. Me and my fiance play Mario Party all the time. And I'm not going to harp on it too much, but I am like number one Kingdom Hearts fan.
I was going to say, like, where's
like
when?
I know.
I feel like, yeah, it's already been mentioned.
It's already been
Like,
mentioned,
right,
but
yeah.
Kingdom Hearts is hard for me because I don't really like being involved with certain fan bases that I think can give the product itself a bad name. Kingdom Hearts, I definitely think can be one of those, but I love it so much. I love how stupid it is. I love how chaotic the story is. And, you know, I'm also a Disney boy, so that helps, but and I'm not like, yeah, you know, I've played all the games. Like, I've played all the games. I own all the Japanese games. I've bought every single console that one of these games has come out on. I have multiple versions of all the games. Like, I've literally been playing since it came out in 2002, and I've logged more hours into Kingdom Hearts games than anything I can possibly think of.
Can you tell us any themes in the upcoming new songs?
We should keep it secret. Tigbot, power down.
Yes.
I'm very afraid of AI, and I'm very afraid of our country moving forward, and I have a son, and I'm very afraid of the world he will be left with. Any of the concepts that I have provided Andrew with, there are various versions of, like, you know, trying to do silly bear ghost stuff to these existential fears that I have. So far, that's where we are. Tigbot, power up.
I think it's funny that you thought I powered down at all.
Yeah, he's artificially intelligent.
Yeah, you think I just listened to you? Anyway, I don't get why you're scared of AI.
It's so weird to be thinking about a world in which we're writing a new record, but we are. But you guys ain't hearing shit until all these covers come out. So, and until you give us $1 million.
Yeah, we need that $1 million. When
TikTok.
when Ryan pitched this podcast, I was like, oh, cool. So another year before we can start writing an album.
Dude, I got like 7 songs.
I know.
Maybe you should bleep 7 so that way people can be like, how many songs?
I'll just dub my own voiceover and be like 0.
I've got like
0
songs. And that's the Mario cliche.
Yeah.
I hope you found that at all informative. Definitely go home and play The Last of Us and Kingdom Hearts and Marvel Rivals.
And Mario Odyssey.
Mario Odyssey. I highly recommend Mario Odyssey.
Mario Odyssey, I have not said is my one of my favorite games, but I've told people constantly it's the most fun I've ever had playing through a game.
Totally. And if you haven't, you ought to see it.
What?
Odyssey.
Bye.
See you later.
Hey everybody, thanks for listening. Special thanks to our Kickstarter backers. Join us next week when we will be discussing The Sorcerer's Apprentice by Paul Dukas. See you then.